Good morning. My name is Gordon Thorne, and I have your announcements for this morning. The neighborhood walk and roll will go again for the third time, Saturday, August 21st, around 7 p.m. or duskish. This time we'll be at Ashbridges Bay Park and Woodbine Beach. All are welcome for nature appreciation and fellowship walk or roll, which is on bicycles. We can meet in front of the Tim Hortons at Northern Dancer and Lakeshore Boulevard. And next Sunday, we're back for our Unitarian Roadshow. And the next week will be in Kingston for the Kingston Unitarian Fellowship and the Reverend Beckett Coppola. So that will not be in this Zoom space. It will be in the space that you were in last week. So follow us there. Welcome to our neighborhood Unitarian Universalist congregation on Zoom. We welcome you here as we stay emotionally and spiritually close in times when we need to stay physically apart. My name is Gordon Thorne, and I will be your virtual service leader this morning from home. Thank you for joining us back in the neighborhood Zoom space as we take a brief break from the summer Zoom road show of other UU congregations. Today, join me in welcoming our own Kurt Thomsen, who will deliver the message, and Jane Lewis, who is our musical guest. Our musical director, Suzanne Mazars, and our minister, the Reverend Wayne Walder, are taking a well-deserved break, but our own Zach Getchell is here and will share a time for all ages from home. I'm happy to work again with Mike Kozowski, who is handling the Zoom web duties. Zach will handle the cut and paste duties. Thank you to all of them. Watching how our congregation handles Zoom, I'm gratified by how good our congregation is at staying muted, looking to chat for readings and lyrics, and not sending chat messages to everyone during service. Please continue to use emojis to communicate your appreciation during the service, and we now have closed captioning available. There's a button to click at the bottom of your screen to start and stop it. This is automatically produced, so the accuracy can be hit or miss, but it is a great resource. Remember, this service is being recorded for the public, both on YouTube and on our new website. Please take the time to edit out, we take the time to edit out joys and concerns or similar personal moments, but if you still have privacy concerns, you're invited to turn off your camera so you're not seen and rename yourself. Sacred space and cyberspace can be awkward companions, and we need your help to bring them together. Now, we have nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. This is our threshold moment. Let's enter sacred space together. Let our service begin now. As we light our chalice, I encourage you to light your own personal chalice or candle, or consider holding your hands in the shape of a chalice. As we light our chalice, you may want to light your own chalice. But either way, join our choir as we sing.
We light this chalice to remember, to light the fire within our own hearts.
And now for our prelude. Our musical guest, Jane Lewis, is a singer-songwriter and one half, along with Eve Goldberg, of the folk group Gathering Sparks. Along with songs, she's been studying vocal improvisation, circle singing, and body percussion. I'm very happy she's with us today. I'm also pleased because the song Jane has chosen for their prelude was the same that Michelle and I played for our wedding. Jane?
Thank you. Thanks for having me here today. I heard this was a favorite of your congregation, and so I hope you will sing along with me. You've got a friend. you're down and troubled and you need some love and care, and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me. Soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You've got a friend. If the sky above you grows dark and full of cloud, and that old north wind begins to blow, keep your head together, call my name out loud, and soon you'll hear me knocking upon your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. So ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? People can be so cold, they'll hurt you and desert you, they'll take your soul if you let them. Oh no, well, don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend. You got a friend. You got a friend. Oh yeah, you've got a friend.
Thank you, Jane. Good morning and welcome. In the wake of continued discoveries of graves of Indigenous children on residential school lands, a simple land acknowledgement of whose land we stand on seems the minimum we as a congregation should be doing to right past injustices. At least let me start there. I acknowledge that the Wendat, the Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nations, who lived here before me and are living here now, together with the Métis and the Inuit. I offer my gratitude to our First Nations for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. I will work to honor these teachings and be an ally to those First Peoples. If you're visiting us today for the first time, we welcome you. Please stay around after service. If you don't go to a breakout room, I will be in the main room to answer any questions you might have about who we are and what we do. Our mission at Neighborhood is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of the world. As our mission says, we need spiritual growth and shared action to care for the world. I remember the amazing Fred Rogers advice to children in times that they felt were scary. He said, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. It's a reassuring notion, but there is more to being a helper than just doing what we think needs to be done. To be of assistance, you need to know more about the needs of those you are helping. You need to be able to listen and empathize. You need to connect the heart and soul and intellect. And that is what our theme is today, a theme that Kurt will expand upon in his continuing series of talks about disability. In the words of Jean Vanier, listening is a difficult and tedious art. It is so much easier to tell people what to do. To listen to someone means to become open and vulnerable to him or her, and to allow them to disturb us, to change our habits and our way of thinking and seeing things. Traditionally, at this time in the service, we ask you to turn to your neighbor and greet them, and that may be in our future, but for now, switch to gallery view, briefly unmute your device, and offer a greeting to those around you. We'll sound a chime to end. Now, take a moment to greet the neighbors around you.
Hi, Thorne.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, Kurt.
Good morning.
Hi, Zach.
Hey, Allison. Hey, Susan. Hey,
Natalie.
Sigrid.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Christina.
Hi,
Sigrid.
Natalie.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey, Christina.
Beata.
Hi,
Hey, Dolly.
Barbara.
Hi, Dolly.
Hey,
Hello,
Beata.
Peter.
Hey, Michelle. Hey, Peter.
Deb.
Hey, Dee Dee.
Christina.
Deb.
Hello,
And
Hey,
Mike.
Deb.
Dina.
Allison.
Dina. And Sean.
Hi.
Hi, Bianca.
Bianca and
Tina, hi Zachary.
Hi everyone. I keep
Hey,
cutting
Deb,
out.
Dina.
Changing.
Hey.
Hi Deb. Hi Tina.
Hi. Hi, Deb.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Mike.
Now I invite you to join me in reading our opening words, which will appear on your screen. If you're on a phone and don't know the words, just follow my reading. Let us cast the circle of a sacred space here. Let us cast the circle of a cherished space here. A space of safety, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must craft in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life. A life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, a place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families. Now, as we hold this place open to grace and insight, please join Jane for our opening song. Go ahead, Jane.
Talked to Kurt a little bit before the service, and we talked about the importance of listening. So you're going to hear more from him about that. I have a really short song. It's a round, and Suzanne said you might be up for learning a round. So we're going to have some lyrics in the chat. It's called Into the Stillness, and it's really just about finding a place where you can listen. So I'll play it once so you can hear how it goes, and then I'll teach you each line so that you can really sing along with me when we do it for real. So just looking at part one, starting with I step into the stillness, it sounds like this. I step into the stillness, I drop into the dark. I am following the silence to the beating of my heart. Once more. I step into the stillness, I drop into the dark. I am following the silence to the beating of my heart. So we're just going to learn the first part. Sounds like this line by line. The first line is, I step into the stillness. So try that. I'm slowing it down also. I step into the stillness. The second line, I drop into the dark. I drop into the dark. Let's do those two together. I step into the stillness. I drop in to the dark. And then we go up. I am following the silence. Try that. I am following the silence. And then we keep going down to the beating of my heart. To the beating of my heart. So let's sing it through. I'm going to stay going a little bit slower than the recording. I step into the stillness. I drop in to the dark. I am following the silence to the beating of my heart. And that's your note for the next time around. I step in to the stillness. I drop in to the dark. I am following the silence to the beating of my heart. So hopefully as you learn it and get more comfortable, it feels like a meditation almost. Let me play it up to speed and then we're going to try it as a round. So here we go. I step into the stillness, I drop into the dark. I am following the silence to the beating of my heart. I step into the stillness, I drop into the dark. I am following the silence to the beating of my heart. Once more. I step into the stillness, I drop into the dark. I am following the silence to the beating of my heart. So I'll play it as a round and you can choose which part you want to join in on. I'm going to play, there's room for 4 parts. I'm going to play two and a quiet third one so it doesn't sound too mushy. So if you want a real challenge, you can choose the 4th part. We'll go through it a few times and then it just slides right into the second part, which we're just repeating, I am listening, and I'm not going to teach you how that goes because you just have to listen and join in however feels good for you today. So that's how it goes. Let's go from the top. Here we go. First part. I step into the stillness, I drop into the stillness, I drop into the silence, I step into my silence, I step into my silence, I drop into the darkness, I drop following the silence to the beating of my silence, I step into my silence, I drop into the darkness, I drop following the silence to the beating of my silence, I step into my silence, I drop into the darkness, I drop following the silence to the beating of my silence, I step into my silence, I drop into the darkness, I drop following the silence to the beating of my silence, to the listening of my heart, to the listening of my heart. I am listening, 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 I am listening.
Now, all the young and young at heart, please come up and get close to the screen because Zach has something to share with you. Zach?
Good morning, everybody. Our topic today is disability and the intelligent helping hand. Now, you might be wondering what that means. I certainly did when Kurt first mentioned it to me. a quick Google search of the intelligent helping hand came up with a lot of technology, prosthetic hands, robotic arms, and artificial intelligence. As interesting as all that might be, it's not what we're going to be talking about today. Have you ever known someone who was hurting? Maybe they were stuck in a tough situation. Maybe they were in danger, and you wanted to help them with your whole self. Do you remember what you did? Did you go up to them and ask if and how you could help them? Did you rush forward and do what you thought would be most helpful? The difference between those is what we're going to be talking about. I know a story, and you might too, about a person who tried with all their heart and soul to help some people who weren't expecting it and didn't ask for it, and frankly, it didn't go very well. Well, I guess this story isn't about a person. It's about a cat. The Cat in the Hat. When the Cat in the Hat learned, and don't ask me how he learned it because I don't know, about two kids who were bored and stuck inside on a cold, wet, and rainy day, he rushed forward to help bring the kids some fun. But the cat did not ask to come in. The cat did not ask what the kids liked to play or what the rules in their house were. The cat just started to help in the best way that he thought of how, and started doing tricks to entertain the kids. When they were shocked instead of impressed, he did even more tricks to try and make them smile. But once the cat tried to do more tricks at the same time than he could and spilled everything all over the house, even dropping their fish out of its fishbowl and into a teapot. When the cat noticed that the kids were upset by this, he said, "Well, if you don't like tricks, surely you must like games." And he called over his friends, again without asking, to play their favorite games with the kids. Unfortunately, their favorite games weren't great for playing inside, and they ended up breaking things and making a huge mess in the kids' home. It wasn't until the kids caught the cat's friends, stopped them from running around, and yelled at all of them to go away that the cat realized he wasn't actually being helpful. He was actually making things worse. That's when the cat cleaned up his mess, that fixed the things he broke, and left. And I think that something we can take from this story is that no matter how hard we want to help someone, and no matter how hard we try to help someone, if we're not helping them in the ways that they want and need help, we're actually hurting more than we're helping. So the next time you want to help someone, I hope you remember the Cat in the Hat. And instead of asking yourself, how can I ask this person? You ask them instead, hi, would you like some help? Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Zach. This is a special time in our service when we invite you to share a joy or concern in your life. To do this, you must open your reactions tab at the bottom of the main window and raise a virtual hand. If you're here on a phone without a screen, you can raise your hand by pressing *9. To speak, you have to unmute your device, and to be seen, you need to have your camera on. Once you've spoken, please remute your device. Please respect the sacredness of the ritual. Stories and announcements are nice, but this is not the time for them. It is a time for finding the wisdom within each joy or concern. It's a cherished time in our community that brings us closer together in times that separate us. We start by expressing gratitude for all the volunteer efforts, seen and unseen, that help our community to hold together. Then I'd like to light this final candle for all the joys and concerns that remain unspoken in our hearts. Now, I ask Kurt to lead us in meditation. Kurt?
Before we start, I just want to double check. The camera angle's okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
All right. So this is a variation on a trust exercise. So just sit and relax, find your comfortable spot. Breathe as easy as you wish. And then take yourself to a garden path. you will find yourself with 3 trusted friends who are all 2 on one side, 2 on the other side, carrying a heavy pail of water. And you know they have your trust and you have their trust, and you know that you can listen to them, and they will listen to you as you walk carrying the pail all the way down the path, just trusting each other, knowing that you will not spill, to deliver needed water for the plants at the end of the path. Slowly and steady, slow and steady, understanding your friends that are helping you and that you are helping. Now, in your own time, come back from the path and into this space when you are ready.
Every summer for the last many years, Kurt Thomsen has spoken from his experience of and wisdom about some aspect of disability. Today, his subject is disability and the intelligent helping hand. We welcome Kurt today. Kurt?
Thank you, Gordon. So some of you may know the Monty Python sketch about Dennis Moore, who robbed from the rich and gave to the poor, not money, but lupins. All the poor had to eat, wear, and build with were lupins. All because Dennis did not think intelligently to even want to help, to ask or say, do you want or even need lupins? Now, yes, I know this may sound a bit ridiculous, but this does seem to prove a bit of a point. When many of us want to be helpful, we say that we're helping with all of our heart and soul, but this is only two of the three elements needed. The trinity of assistance is heart, soul, and intellect. Not necessarily book smarts, but the ability to observe openly, to ask open questions like, may I, or how may I, and to understand from an unencumbered position. However, unfortunately, many of us, myself included, have obstacles to this. We'll be discussing three different types of helpers that are the obstacles of the intelligent helping hand. The first is one of the most basic. Many of us think with our mothering or protective brain that wants to protect children or those that are seemed weaker or less able than us. And as you can probably guess, those of us with disabilities might feel a little threatened by someone who wants to impose this type of help. In a way, this type of parenting help is very similar to the way different rules are set for sons than for daughters. There are rules that are differently set for able-bodied children and disabled children. I was 18 years old and I had to be home by dark. And until I made sufficient protest and had people advocating on my behalf, my parents had my whole life planned out for me. The basic idea that we were taught at the time is we're supposed to accept any help given, no matter what it is, and whether we need it or not. I remember playing games with my family, and my grandmother would want to move my piece. So, at some point, I just, can I at least make an effort to do this myself? And my mom would get upset with me and say, you're being rude because your grandmother wants to do this for you. Rude? Just because I want to do something for myself? Think about that. Just wanting to do something for myself, just to make even an attempt at it. And apparently I'm being rude. Now, this mothering helper can get even more extreme. I knew a girl from Czech Republic, and her family metaphorically wrapped her in bubble tape. They protected her from everything, all the negatives around the world, and they let her quit anything she didn't want to do, which unfortunately included school. So she had no opportunity to really learn or understand the type of person she really wanted to be. And she didn't really have an opportunity to really learn how to ask questions. Very important. As it may sound simple, but questions are really the key. Open questions. Like the second rule of first aid states, when you find the area is safe, you go up to the injured person and you say, I know first aid. May I help you? open question. It allows the injured person to tell you what they need and how they need it, or even if they need a doctor. And doctors, they always have to ask open questions because they don't know everything that's going on. They may have some understanding of what's going inside your body, but they need to know more, so they will ask an open question because they have instructions to follow. We all have instructions that we need to do when we're helping. It's like when we're building something. When you get a bicycle for your child's birthday or Christmas present, you have instructions that, okay, you put this piece here, you put that piece here, you turn this like that. When you want to help someone, say, who's visually impaired like myself, I am your instruction manual. I know what I need. I know how I need it, and I can explain to you how to help me. This is good. But this also can lead to the second kind of dangerous helper, the generalist helper. Because someone could say, oh, I just helped Kurt, so I can go help John, who's also blind. But you see, the problem is Kurt has some usable sight and uses a white cane. John is totally blind and uses a dog. My family, we knew an older blind gentleman. For the sake of this talk, we'll call Albert Kenner. My mom would say, oh, Albert Kenner has this. Albert Kenner does this. Albert Kenner went here. So you're going to do the exact same thing as Albert Kenner. But I'm of a different generation than Albert Kenner. I have a different eye condition than Albert Kenner. To help solve this issue, we need to understand that there are differences. There's a program here in Toronto called Balance for Blind Adults that recognizes that each client has a different need. Some people may need just a little bit of help like I did, or need a lot of help, which is better than the old way of doing something. With the blind independent living, it's okay, you all start at the bottom, and you're all, whether you need to start at the bottom or not, you're going to go up this way, the way we tell you, whether you understand this or not. In our Unitarian faith, we understand this because we have so many different types of people, different types of spirits. We have introverts and extroverts. We have artistic and technically minded people. We have auditory, kinetic, and visual learners, and so many other different types of people. And we just, with so many different types of spirit mixed in, we have so many different spirits of people. And we also understand that each individual is at a different spot on the pathway to the center of all truths. Now, generalist thinking can also seem good in some ways, but also dangerous in other ways. Right now in our Unitarian faith, we're talking about dismantling forms of oppression. And some people seem to believe that dismantling one form of oppression is going to dismantle all forms, but each form of oppression has their own uniqueness. And if we focus on merely one, we might not be able to help them, the people who experience that particular oppression, the best way. For example, people who who experience racism and ableism, they both experience the idea of being treated like we're mentally inferior. However, when you have someone, hey, who's simply experiencing ableism, there's an extra thing added, which is the idea of being treated like you're physically inferior. And that adds a whole new set of issues, which I can't get into right now. But if we were able to, say, focus on, look at many different types of oppression, see what they share, and see what is unique about them, we can make links and we can be able to dismantle them in a stronger way because we understand how each of them are connected to each other. The final form of helper that we're going to be discussing today is what I like to call the minimalist helper. Someone who might do a little bit of research here, a little bit of research there. Okay, they might put in a ramp or an elevator or tactile or something like that, and they think they know what they're doing, but they have done absolutely no consultation with anyone with a disability. And then there might be someone on a bus, like some people who are on the bus when I get on, and they say, hey, will somebody give this blind guy a seat? And they don't even ask me first. But when we approach these helpers that think they've done what the best for us, and we tell them that their help is not adequate, they get upset and they treat us like we're ungrateful because they've done this help for us. And in our recent Canadian history, when we've noticed all these mass graves and everything else, I think I need to mention this, that there's a perfect example of minimalist helping in our history. When all these priests and politicians came to see our first peoples, they thought, okay, we're going to raise up the savage to civilization, and we're going to bring them out of their primitive ways. Well, with residential schools and the 60s scoop and other things like that, we've seen the result of that, haven't we? But just imagine if these priests and politicians stepped out of their preconceived perceptions and stepped into a place of silent observation and listening, and were able to ask our first peoples open questions and listen in an understanding, unencumbered way. What would our relationship be with our peoples, first peoples? And what would our relationship with our environment be? Because frankly, I think it would be a lot better than it is right now. When we are actually asked, we feel needed. Like I finished a contract where, I was being helped, and I'm helping at the same time when I'm helping to make art more accessible for blind audiences. So it's like this wheel, this ever-turning wheel of being helped and helping ever through eternity. Like the Ouroboros snake who's eating its own tail. If there is a God, he gave us brains to move beyond our basic level of thinking. And as Unitarians, we have so much access from people who bringing in their traditions, their rituals, and all their texts. We can move so much easily from generalist or minimalist or instinctive thinking to a higher place of understanding. To paraphrase an old line, when we help intelligently with an intelligent helping hand, we in turn help ourselves intelligently. And we can grow to, I don't know, but I'm willing to see the path that grows to. Thank you for listening. Oh, and if anybody has any questions for me after service, I'll be in the main room along with Gordon to talk about this any further. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Kurt. In these times of isolation, let's not forget that this congregation is a living entity, and like all living things, it must have nurture and sustenance. Your contributions pay staff salaries and allow us to create programs that help us to grow spiritually and encourage social justice. If you contribute by pre-authorized withdrawals, thank you. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. Please consider writing a check or making an e-transfer, which is the most cost-effective way to give. A link is in your chat window for you now, and all you need to do is click on it and it will take you to our donations page. So we'll pause now and I'll let Jane play. Thanks, Jane. And now, I guess we'll ask Jane to lead us in our final song.
All right, we're gonna do a song that was written by a former bandmate of mine called Right Here, and there'll be some lyrics in the chat. It's a really easy sing-along song. Really, the intention is about the power of community and, you know, how much strength and how many resources we have if we just ask each other and listen to one another. So the chorus sounds like this. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. And that just kind of repeats. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. So give that a try. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. So that's how it goes. The verses have the exact same melody, so you can join in on the verses, or if you don't feel like thinking about words or looking at the chat, you can just ooh along to the whole thing. That works really well, so just enjoy. Here we go. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. We traveled long, we traveled far to be right here where we are, reach out a hand. No need to fear, 'cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. The night was dark, but the day is bright. Together we can lift our eyes to all we love, we hold dear, 'cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. It's all we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need, all we need, all we need is right here.
Thanks, Jane. It's been a real joy having you with us today.
Thank you.
I now invite you to sing with our choir as we extinguish our chalices.
Although our chalice has been darkened, we hold the fire within our own hearts.
Today, I'll leave you with this blessing by Amy Zucker Morgenstern. In every person we meet, we find an opportunity for us to grow, to learn, to go further along the path of transformation that is our purpose in life. Every single one is our teacher. May the next week bring you many such moments of meeting to help you become the person you want to be. May you welcome them with joy. For those of you who do not wish to join a breakout room, thank you for joining us. Everyone who remains here will be asked to join a breakout room. Today's question to consider in your breakout room, when was a time that you helped somebody with your heart, soul, and intellect? Kurt and I will stay in the main space to answer any questions about the topic today or about our congregation or Unitarianism. Just stay in the meeting by saying later to the request to join a breakout room. We had a tradition here of circling around and holding each other's hands. Instead, I suggest you go to gallery view, unmute yourself, and together let us say namaste, which means I salute the spirit within you. Neighborhood, namaste.
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 We can't. Namaste.
Thank you.